G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of Flashlight Crazy. Today I'm doing a comparison video on 5 of my personal favorite High CRI EDC 14500 lights. So number one is the Malkoff MDC hard anodized in the 1AA in the 4000K SST20 emitter. Number 2 is the Reylight LAN Apple in the 4000K NiMH 519A emitter. Number 3 is the EagTac D25A. This is in the 4000K SST20 emitter. Also another EagTac D25A, but this is in the NiMH 219C emitter, both 4000Ks. And last but not least is the new Acebeam Tac AA in the 5000K NiMH 519A emitter. Let's check them out. All right, so here they all are. We've got the Reylight, and this is the LAN Apple, LAN head pineapple body, and this is in the NiMH 519A emitter. And the NiMH 519A has a CRI measurement of 90 or above, so that's a good measurement. Next, we have the EagTac D25A, and this is running a NiMH 219C, which has a CRI measurement of 92 or above. Next, we've got the all-new Acebeam Tac AA, and this is running a NiMH 519A as well. This has a CRI of 90 or above, and this is in the 5000K. I should have mentioned that these two are in the 4000K. And this is the other EagTac. It's the D25A, exactly the same as that, but this has the SST20 4000K emitter, and that has a CRI of 95 or above. And last but certainly not least is the Malkoff MDC hard anodized 1AA, and this is in the SST20 4000K emitter as well. This also has a CRI of 95 or above. Okay, so I'll install the batteries now, and as I do, I'll just explain the batteries. So the Reylight battery is very simple. It comes with it. So it comes with this Reylight lithium-ion 14500 1000 milliamp hour 3.7 volt battery. Now the EagTacs do not come with batteries, so I'm just using some Reylight batteries that I've also got from other Reylights, but these will also take alkaline or nickel metal hydride, same as the Reylight. Now the Acebeam actually comes with an Acebeam 14500. So here it is, 920 milliamp hour, 3.7 volt. This is a Type C charging port, so a Type C charging battery. EagTac again. I'll just use another Reylight, same one, 14500, 1000 milliamp hour, 3.7 volt. And then the Malkoff will not take a lithium 14500. The voltage is too high and it will ruin the battery. So I'm using a 1.2 volt nickel metal hydride 2450 milliamp hour Fujitsu nickel metal hydride, which is the best brand in my opinion. And just to show you on the Malkoff there, it's very, very clear, 1 to 2 volts. So that is telling you do not put anything in this that is above 2 volts because you will have some dramas. All right, so let's do some measurements off the cuff, and I'll just move these back to give me some room. So the LAN Apple comes in at 91.4 millimeters long. It's got a tail thickness of 14.41 millimeters, body thickness of 11.94 millimeters, and head thickness of 16.28 millimeters. Now the EagTacs are going to be the exact same, so I'll just do one of them. It is 81.3 millimeters long. Tail is 11.94 millimeters wide. Body is 11.99 millimeters wide, and the head is 12.62 millimeters wide. Acebeam comes in at 96.51 millimeters long. Now the frill bit on the tail is 17 millimeters wide. Body steps in at 13.79 millimeters wide. Face steps back out at 19.42 millimeters wide. And the Malkoff, 104.79 millimeters long. The tail, 17.74 millimeters wide. Body is 14.21 millimeters wide. Face is 20.86 millimeters wide. So the Malkoff and the Acebeam are the most similar in size and measurements. And then the Reylight and EagTacs are a little bit similar as well, although the EagTac is by far, the most compact out of them all, by far. This thing is super impressive with how compact it is. All right, so all of them have pocket clips and batteries included in the weight. So Reylight, 66.15 grams. That's a great weight. EagTac, 45.22 grams. Acebeam, 75.82 grams. EagTac again, 45.15 grams. Malkoff, 105.92 grams. All right, so we've got, as you would expect, we've got the EagTacs being the lightest, then the Reylight, then the Acebeam, then the Malkoff. Now, I did move them a little bit too close. Okay, now we'll go over the design and feel, because all of these lights have very unique and different designs. So starting with the Reylight, it's a very compact EDC light, right? It doesn't have a rubber clicky. This is the only one that doesn't have a rubber clicky. It's got the same material as whatever the light is made of. So this is the aluminium gray version. I love this one. It's kind of like my beater out of my Reylights. I don't want to beat on my titanium ones, but I'm happy to beat on the aluminium because it just costs less. So, but the construction's exactly the same, except it's aluminium instead of your titanium. But if you just have a look, first off, the gray is beautiful. And now I've dropped this thing a couple of times and it still works just fine. So I'm not concerned about it at all. Now, it is a reverse clicky, meaning that you click it and then let go and then it comes on. And that's how you actually change outputs. You just half click. The tail cap offers such a beautiful area here to just place your thumb on the pad of it. The pad of your thumb on the circumference of the tail cap, so it just hits the light and then you're able to change outputs. As you can see there, we've got a stainless steel pocket clip, which is quite deep carry. Let's just see. All of these lights are fairly deep carry, actually. Some more than others, but this is still pretty damn good. You've got some tritium tube slots here because it's a custom made light by Ray. So it's a very nice additive to have tritiums involved. You do have a orange peel reflector, as I said before, NiMH 519A, 4000K emitter. And this thing goes up to 380 lumens, or probably 400 lumens as soon as you turn it on. And then at about 30 seconds, it'll be roughly 380. You do get a lot of runtime out of the lithium battery. So you get about an hour and a half out of it, but it will step down gradually towards the end of the runtime, towards the end of the voltage running out. This does have low voltage protection, which is really good because the batteries that you get from Ray are not protected. So that's important. Now, as you'll see in the night shots, this renders colors really, really well. It's a beautiful light. I often use it and I have it in the configuration of high, medium, low. So it always comes on in high and then I half press, it goes down to medium, half press again, it goes down in low. And then I've gotten rid of moonlight mode. And I've gotten rid of memory mode. So it always comes on in high. So if you don't know how to program your Reylights, then I will link my video in the description here of how to program a Reylight, because I try to make it very simple and clear. It's not a long video, but it just helps show how to program them because there are so many things you can do with the Reylights. It is the most diverse light out of all of these, meaning that it comes out of the box with moonlight, low, medium, and high. But you can program it to get rid of moonlight. You can program it to add a memory mode if you want. You can program it to go high, medium, and low instead of low, medium, and high. So what I've done is I got this out of the box coming on in moonlight every time, and then it would go low, medium, and high. What I've done is removed moonlight, and I've swapped it from going low, medium, and high up to high, medium, and low, and I've removed memory mode. So it always comes on in high, half press to medium, half press to low. Always comes on in high, doesn't matter what I turn it off in. So that is the way I like an EDC light to be. I like it to come on in higher output than a lower output, plain and simply because when I take these lights outside, I often use them for things like, you know, if I drop something under the car seat, or if I'm looking in between a crack of something, it's in daylight. So you want a bit more light to help with fighting against the surrounding light of daytime. Really love the Reylights. I think they're, you know, I don't like to use the word perfection, but they're on par with a perfect EDC light. They really are. Size, dimensions, outputs, emitters, and programmability. I mean, it's on par with a perfect light. Now, the EagTac. So one of them is the NiMH, one of them is SST20. So we've got the NiMH on the right here, and then the SST20 on the left. Both have orange peel reflectors, and these are really cool lights, guys. So I don't think they have low voltage protection though. So I'm running non-protected batteries in them at the moment. That can be dangerous. I'm not going to run them out though and over discharge the batteries, but it's just important to know that I think you should use protected cells in the EagTacs. And I will double check that to see if I'm wrong about the low voltage protection, but I haven't been able to find any information on whether or not they are low voltage protected or not. So the UIs on these are really cool. And actually just before that, I'll just show you the pocket clips are fantastic. So the pocket clips are really great with deep carry. They're screwed in, tough as nails, very, very nice to slip in and out of the pocket there because of the smooth body. As in, you know, you've got a bit of texture, but it's not like ribbed or anything. Now, these are also running reverse clickies, but they are running rubber. So I really like the rubber. Now, that's a good view of the difference between NiMH, SST20. So the SST20 is more yellow in the 4000K. NiMH 219C is also 4000K, but it's got a bit of a different tint. If I just show you them there, it's less intense of a yellow. It's got even a tinge of pink. And you have a tighter hotspot, seemingly more throw with the SST20, more candela. Now, if I half click, it goes into strobe, half click, back to turbo. So the UI on these things is really, really cool. And in my opinion, quite perfect for a EDC light. I almost said UFC light. I've been watching too much UFC. So for an EDC light, reason being is that when the head is tightened, it always comes on in the highest output, always. And you can run these with nickel metal hydride and it'll just lower the output, but you get heaps more runtime. But if I undo the head just slightly, now it comes on in low and I can cycle to medium, to high, to turbo, and then it'll cycle around that again, low, medium, high, turbo. And now if I cycle again, strobe, again, SOS, again, more flashing, again, beacon. So, and I think that is just some other flash. So with the head tight, it comes on in turbo and then half press into your strobe, right? Now, I turned it off in strobe, turn it back on, still comes on in turbo. So no memory, which I like. But if I undo the head just slightly, it comes on in your really, really low output. And that's even lower when you have a nickel metal hydride or alkaline battery. So, and the best thing about this, watch this, I'll leave it on high or turbo and I will tighten the head. Now we go back to turbo and I loosen the head and it remembers it. So you can memorize whatever you want whilst the light's on. But watch this, turn the light off like that, right? Wait a second, turn it back on, no memory. So that's really cool because you can reset the outputs by turning it off. But if you want to keep the memory, then you just switch it to turbo again and then switch it back and it's memorized whatever it was in. So it's a really great UI. It's seriously really great. And I'll just give you a little bit of a show with the SST20 as well. So again, turn it on, you're on turbo, half click strobe, half press back to turbo. Very, very easy to half press as well. It's really sensitive. And then you can change it whilst it's on or whilst it's off. And again, same thing, it just goes into low, and then you can obviously medium, high, and all the rest of it. But if you turn it off, leave it for long enough, and then turn it back on, it comes back on in low, the lowest output. But then if you tighten the head, back to turbo, unloosen the head, that will maintain whatever output you've left it in. So I think this is high, tighten the head to turbo, and then undo the head again, back to high. But if I turn it off and wait a second, when I turn it back on, it would have resetted back down to low, moonlight/low. So it's a really, really good UI, because, you know, you've got this in your pocket, and you know that with the head tight, when I turn it on, it comes on in turbo. And you also know that if I loosen the head a bit, it's going to come on in low. So if you pull this out of your pocket and you want to see something, you know, in between a couch or something like that, you're probably going to want the highest output. But if you are, you know, going to be looking at a map or something, well, you're going to unloosen the head slightly so that it doesn't come on and blind you. So very, very clever UI, these two, and it's the UI and the compact pocketability, but also the emitters, that is why I choose these for EDC use as well. And the NiMH has a CRI of 92, and the SST20 has a CRI of 95. So better color rendering with the SST20, but I think I prefer the NiMH. I just think I prefer the NiMH overall than SST20. Now, looking at the Acebeam, the construction of this is phenomenal. It's second to the Malkoff, in my opinion. And this is also running a NiMH 519A, but in the 5000K. So that's 5000K, not 4000K. Now, take a look at that hotspot. This thing has the most throw out of them all, and it's so impressive. And now so this has a forward clicky. So the first forward clicky, not a reverse clicky like these three. So what that means is I can momentary until I find the output I want. Then when I do, I click it in. And now this also has memory mode. So memory mode means that I can forward clicky, click the one I want. Then when I've got it, click it off, wait a second or two, it's gonna come back in the output I turned it off in. But if I off and on quickly, it's gonna cycle. See that? So that's the difference between this forward clicky and I'll show you the Malkoff, is that the Malkoff always starts in low, whereas this has memory. But in terms of the construction of this, you know, you've got a rubber clicky, forward clicky switch. You've got tail standing capabilities, just like all of them. Every single light here has tail standing. You've got a really nice pocket clip that is attached by screwing on the tail cap, which means it's very, very secure. Great heat sinks here, because this thing does get really high in output, which I'll explain shortly. And just overall, really great construction. You've even got a bit of a crenulated bezel for a bit of a tactical look. It's a very, very tactical 1AA light, and I'm just all over it. And it's got the smooth reflector, so you know you are going to get more throw out of it than any other of these lights, which all have orange peel reflectors except for this one. And then finally, we've got the Malkoff. Now, I'll just show you that the Malkoff is the only one out of these lights that is fully potted, so it's going to add to the weight a lot, which it did. Heaviest light in the bunch, but it's also the most robust light. You know, you're going to struggle to break it. You're going to struggle to put it under anything that it can't take. Orange peel reflector down there, SST20, 4000K, tail standing capabilities, even though we've still got some tail standing. Very, very strongly constructed pocket clip, very nice McClicky forward switch, always comes on in low. So that is your moonlight mode. That it's just phenomenal. This makes for a very great next to the bed light, because every time you turn it on, it comes on in that. And then when you turn it off, you 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So you can just momentary until you get to the light, to the output you want. Now, here's how you save it. So you can actually save this into a certain output, and I'll show you how. So it always comes on in your low mode, right? In your moonlight mode, but this uses what's called on time mode setting or on time memory. So what that means is this light doesn't really have memory mode, because when you turn it on, If you leave the light on for more than 150 milliseconds, then when you turn it off and back on again, it's going to come back to the same output. But if I, 1, 2, turn it on, turn it off. So what will happen is if you don't leave it on for longer than 150 milliseconds, what happens is next time you turn it on, it will have advanced. So it uses on-time mode advance system, meaning that it'll always come on in your moonlight mode. But if I get it to say medium there, and then when I turn it off from medium, it's going to come back on in moonlight mode. But if I get it to medium mode, off and on very quickly, then the next output it's going to come on in is going to be high. There it is. So that just means that it will advance modes if you don't leave it on for more than 150 milliseconds. Very, very clever UI, this. Now, in terms of outputs and run times, I think I already mentioned the Reylight. So we do have roughly 400 lumens with the lithium battery, and then it will run for about an hour and a half, but it will step down towards the end of that. Now, EagTacs, whether it's the NiMH or the SST20 in these lights, the D25As, they've both got a lumen max output of 275. So 275 lumens, you'll get that for about an hour. It will slightly step down as the voltage dissipates, but you can also get the lowest mode of these for up to 150 hours. So that's really, really, really special. Now the Acebeam, so on the highest output, that one there, you'll get 750 lumens, so well and truly the brightest out of them all. But that'll only last for 35 seconds, and then it'll drop down to 400 lumens for 49 minutes. But you do get 10,000 candela, so this is the brightest and the furthest reaching. And then on that output, the lowest output there, which is about 5 lumens, you're going to get that for 58 hours. So it's just fantastic. Really, really great light. And with the Malkoff, as I said, it starts off in your lowest output there, which is 0.3 of a lumen. Malkoff says that with a 2000 milliamp hour nickel metal hydride, you will get that for 200 plus hours. Well, this is a 2450 milliamp hour nickel metal hydride, so you're going to get more than 200 hours. And then the next output there is 8 lumens, which you'll roughly get for 18 hours. But again, with this nickel metal hydride, you're going to get that for longer. And then high mode is 90 lumens, and 90 lumens you'll get for about an hour. But again, you'll probably get maybe hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half in this nickel metal hydride. Now, in terms of impact resistance and water resistance and stuff like that, so the Malkoff will take the cake. They don't give you specs, but this thing's going to be hard to break and hard to drown. And that's because it's fully potted, very simple construction. Everything is solid, like sealed up, good to go. So this is by far the strongest. Then you've got the Acebeam, which has a 2 meter drop resistance, which has a 1.5 meter drop resistance and 2 meter water submersible resistance. Now the Reylights have, I don't know the exact specs, but I would be careful with submerging it. But I know that this will survive a 1 meter drop because I've done it. I've dropped it several times. And the EagTacs don't give you that information in there when you get these lights. But I'd be fine dropping them because, if something comes loose, you can pull the head apart and basically just fix it. Obviously, don't drop it from too far, but, you'd be able to probably pull that out and tighten everything or tighten the retainer ring or whatever. But what I will say is that I don't know how water resistant they are. So these are probably the most precious out of all of them in terms of dropping and water resistance. I think they've got the lowest drop rating and water rating. But fantastic EDC lights, and they are the cheapest. So let's not forget that. All right, let's go outside for some night shots, and then we'll come back for final thoughts, prices, and where to buy. See you in a sec. All right, kicking things off with the EagTac. Look at that. And that is the SST20 4000K. Highest output. This will all be just highest output comparisons. Look at that. And then half click to strobe, half click. And that's with a nickel metal hydride, man. That is, my apologies. That is with a lithium ion. not a nickel metal hydride. Nickel metal hydride would be a little bit dimmer, but that is friggin' sensational. That is the Malkoff, same emitter, SST20 4000K, obviously much less lumens. This is with the nickel metal hydride. So less of a distinct hotspot, but a really nice, nice beam profile. Really good, seamless beam profile. It's pretty bright, you know, no matter where you look, except for the outskirts of that spill. See? So I like that a lot. All right. Now the Reylight LAN Apple NiMH 519A. Look at that. That is very, very cool. Wonderful beam profiles, enormous hotspots, very evenly spread between the hotspot and spill. Just magnificent. Reylight is really, really doing some good stuff, man. All right. Acebeam, and that was the highest. That probably the brightest out of them all, I would say, by a long shot. Even look at the throw on it. Amazing. Look at the distinct hotspot. That's friggin' incredible. Love this light. All right. And the NiMH EagTac. So that is definitely looks more like the Reylight style. This is a 219C, if I'm not mistaken, or 219B. I am doing these night shots the night before the review, so I can't remember if it's 219C or 219B. I think it's C, if I'm not mistaken. But I've been known to be mistaken before. How's that going with the... Yeah, not bad throw as well. So everything here, except the Malkoff, has had a lithium ion 14500, and the Malkoff has a nickel metal hydride, but the rest can take nickel metal hydride as well. But the Malkoff will not take a 14500 lithium ion. I'm just going to go back to the Malkoff one last time. So just wanted to go back to the Malkoff to show that the nickel metal hydride is still very, very useful. Obviously the rest were much brighter, but you know, I'm not struggling for light here. So I do, you know, it is a trade-off, because this light is probably the most robust out of them all. You know, reliable, unbreakable style, but also the dimmest. So there is a trade-off, but nickel metal hydrides will last for a long time. I love this light. All right, see ya. Alrighty, so mate, I mean, the EagTacs are pretty impressive, but they get quite hot at the heads, especially with the lithium batteries, but really, really impressive still. I gotta say though, the most impressive is the Acebeam. It's the brightest, throws the furthest. I know that you're not going to get that brightness and that throw for a long time, but even the high instead of the turbo, or the medium instead of the high output, the second one down output, is still really, really impressive. So it does depend on what you want your light for, but this, I love this light. The comfort of it as well, you know, just the way it sits in your hand, I really like it. And this is probably, you know, gonna be in a very regular rotation of my pocket, because it's just a phenomenal light. It really, really is. Now, the Reylights, you know, they're very well known and loved by all, and good reason why. You know, the Reylight is a fantastic light. It's really, really almost EDC perfection. Love everything about it, really. The size, the pocketability, the weight, it's all just fantastic. So No real issues with the Reylight at all. One thing that I think the Acebeam has over the Reylight is I feel like the Acebeam is just built a bit tougher. It feels tougher. Feels like I could drop this from higher than this, and I wouldn't want to drop this from very high. I've dropped it from my pocket and it's survived, so I know it's strong, but also water resistance. I feel like the Acebeam would have more water resistance. However, I don't know because it's not listed, so I'm happy to be corrected about that. And then the Malkoff, you know, man, this thing's indestructible. It does really, really well, but it has the lowest output. So, you know, 90 lumens is the highest that it gets to. So I'll give you a bit of a breakdown of how I use these lights, because these are 5 of my regularly used lights. So the Malkoff next to the bed light, 100%. Why? Because it always comes on in 0.3 of a lumen. It's the 4000K SST20, and it does go up to 90 lumens, which is in pitch black. 90 lumens is friggin' heaps, which you just saw in the night shots. 90 lumens, it's still doing its job. So this is a fantastic in-home, around the house, next to the bed light, and that is where it stays for me. So love the Malkoff. It is the most expensive, but it's the strongest and most durable as well. I will link all of these on where to get them as well, so just click the link to check the exact prices, but I think this is roughly around 200 Australian dollars plus 55 USD shipping to Australia. So next to the bed light, my next to the bed light, phenomenal light. The Reylight, this aluminium one's coming in about, I think, 49 USD, so really, really cheap. But Reylight makes for a great EDC. It makes for a good pocket light, out and about. There are some scenarios where I won't use this and I would take the Acebeam instead. And those scenarios are basically if I think I'm going to need more light and more throw, because this doubles as not only an EDC light, but the Acebeam doubles as also a like mini thrower almost, you know, 10,000 candela. It's fantastic. And in fact, I'll just tell you, this has got roughly 200 meters of throw. Now, I wouldn't use it for 200 meters, but mate, probably use it at like 50. That you're not going to get the rest of them at 50. So what I love about the Acebeam is that it's a very, very pocketable EDC 5000K with great throw as well. Fantastic. Great blinding light and great throw. So that's a really good light. So these two kind of, I'm happy to interchange them as I go. But it depends on where I'm going and what I'm doing will kind of depend on which one I grab. But sometimes I just grab one of them because I want to use that one over that one. And the price of the Acebeam, I will, it's not at Light Shop yet, but it will be at Light Shop. So I'm going to link it directly to Acebeam, but I'll also link it at Light Shop the second it comes into Light Shop. Now, the EagTacs are the cheapest as well. These are, I think, roughly around 80 bucks or something. So what I'll do is I will link these at LED Torch Shop, I think it is. And you can just go pick them up from there. They are the thing I like about these ones is they're the best kind of bang around lights because they're cheaper than the rest. The construction build, in my opinion, is not as good as the rest of them. So I'm happy to kind of bang these around a bit. And then, you know, if they break or if they stop working, try to do a little bit of a DIY, fix it myself. If I fail, that's fine because they're not that expensive, you know, so I'm not too concerned about these lights over the rest of them. Although I'm not very concerned about the Malkoff because it's just absolutely indestructible. So thanks very much for watching, guys. I hope that was a bit of an informative video on some of my favorite high CRI lights, but they've all got great CRI. They all have decent outputs and runtimes, except for the Malkoff, which has great runtime but not great output. But you got to know where to use it. You know, next to the bed light, pitch black, 90 lumens is friggin' plenty. All right. Until next time, stay cool and stay safe. See ya.